Yo, I'm joined by my guy Chase Griffin, quarterback for UCLA, two-time NIL Athlete of the Year, Texas Gatorade Player of the Year. He's not from Houston, but we'll still accept him as Texas's own. But Chase, man, we gotta skip the small talk, okay? You have this partnership with Chase Bank. It makes total sense, right? Your name's Chase Bank. What if Wells Fargo came in with double of the offer? Would you consider it?
Hey, I'm still under contract with Chase, so I'm not even hearing that offer.
Okay, you're not. Okay, too much noise. You're not even trying to hear that.
I want that deal with JP Morgan Chase to be lifetime.
Okay,
Really?
for sure.
Good.
For sure. So you're like, okay, even if a bank that doesn't have my name comes in with way more, this is a long-term play. So I'm not gonna just partner with another bank. The names make sense.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. Well, man, thanks so much for joining me, bro. Before we dive into the more business stuff, I gotta check the box here, man. Lot is going on in the Pac-12, right? You got Coach Prime at Colorado. You got, I forgot, whatever those guys were named, south of LA, those guys in Compton. I think USC, something like that. Something like that. Lots shaking, man. How are workouts going, and how are you feeling about next season?
Workouts are good. Workouts are tough. They're supposed to be. The summer is always conditioning, so they're getting after us. But the offense is clicking. Defense, we have some new guys and some good veterans, and I'm looking forward to fall camp, getting ready for game one.
I was at Drake Stadium in 2020 during like the bad part of the pandemic, and I was working out at Drake Stadium just doing sprints or something, just trying to still get my body right in condition. And it's crazy who you see on that field. I mean, I'm talking from guys like Saquon Barkley to OBJ, all these guys, right? Cam Newton, all these guys doing routes on the field. It's such a place where all these people congregate. I mean, it must be amazing as a student there and an athlete there to just be around this environment.
I think it goes both ways. I think the athletes in the professional world recognize the legends who've come to UCLA, and whether they had the opportunity to go to UCLA coming out of college, I think the location's amazing, the facilities are great, but also as a pro, recognizing how good of a school and great the tradition here with athletes is.
No, 100%. They're like, I want to keep this good vibes going, so I'm gonna go where John Wooden coached, and where all these incredible UCLA legends, made their claim. So I get that for sure. So man, look, you're a Texas guy, but now you're out in LA, and you have been sort of a trailblazer in this NIL space, because for you it's more than just I'm an athlete, here's money. It's about building a brand, a legacy. You're like your own mini entrepreneur. You're at a different speaking event every other day. When did it click for you that this could be possible?
I think my road to NIL has been longer than even I knew going into it. I got to UCLA 2 years before that July came, when NIL came to fruition, but I'd been practicing for it for a long time. Throughout high school, I played at Hutto High School, which is around 20 miles northeast of Austin, and it was a one-horse high school town where the whole town was shut down every single Friday night and would come out to the games. And so I was used to representing something larger than myself. Had a lot of hours of interviews before I even got to UCLA, and then my senior year, I won a lot of branded awards. So doing speaking engagements for Gatorade or Ford because of the awards I had won. And when I got to UCLA, I wanted to make sure that I maximized the network both on and off the field. And the season before NIL came to be, I had the highest passer rating in the Pac-12, and off the field, I was finishing up my undergrad degree in just over 2 years. And I was doing a good job of cataloging all of that.
Even though they weren't paying you in high school, you had a lot of public speaking opportunities, and that was like low-key your reps. That was your reps for sort of the next level.
Absolutely. And it took off a lot of the pressure of having to, represent something larger than myself. As a quarterback, that's already a responsibility I revel in each and every day.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. And, for folks that don't know, man, like you said it, when Friday night comes around in these small Texas towns, man, if you're not at the football game, I'm going to put it in my words. You don't have to co-sign this. You're a loser if you don't show up to the football games on Friday night, whether you're playing in it or watching it. Like, all eyes on you.
That's how it is. Yeah.
No, for sure. And so, throughout this NIL journey, there's been two areas of focus that I've seen: wealth management, taking care of your finances for beyond football, and then the venture aspect of it. What does NIL taught you about business that you wouldn't have learned if NIL wasn't allowed?
I think the best type of learning is experiential learning. And throughout college, I've learned how to write policy memos, how to engage with municipal governments and receive grants and allocate federal spending dollars in my undergrad. And then in grad, I just got a master's in education. I've learned, the philosophies of some of the greatest coaches that sports has ever seen. But some of the most tangible learning I've had since I've been in college has been through NIL. And that's because I have practiced going from a first meeting with a brand or a company all the way to the creative that they want me to direct, to the pre-production, to creating shot lists, to reserving venues, to being talent in the shots, to reshooting, to editing, all the way into the posting cycle. And to be able to do that time and time again shows not only that you're able to add value to brands, but it helps you understand the importance of return on investment and ways that you can maximize yourself to create this value for others, which in turn creates value for yourself. And that's the beautiful part about NIL.
I was a okay student. Like, I wasn't amazing, but I've always said, like, the best way to learn something is just try to do it. And even if, it doesn't go your way completely or you fail at it, you learn so much through that experience. And one thing I really do appreciate about NIL, and I hope legislation and people in Washington understand, is this is an MBA for a lot of athletes. Because, like, you're the prize, man, and, like, you got to make a decision. This is Chase Griffin, CEO of Chase Griffin LLC, or incorporate, however you want to structure your company. We can talk about that. But you know what I'm saying? This is you. This is your own company.
It's a small business. And whether you continue staying in the marketing or advertising space and continue doing content production and talent, having to do business dealings as a business owner helps you in every single aspect. If I wanted to go into the restaurant business, I know how to do taxes because of my NIL. If I wanted to go into consulting, which I already am, I can use my perspective as an athlete, but also as someone who worked in the marketing space to add value to that company. Because it is so personal to who you are in your own name, image, and likeness, it's very transferable to other aspects of your life.
Yeah, 100%. And that also applies to the venture space, which we alluded to before I hit record. And I want to dive into that with you because I want to see, like, where your head's at here, right? So NIL, you got this platform, you're helping companies, you have this perspective, this ability now to unlock doors for potential entrepreneurs and startups. You spent a little time, correct me if I'm wrong, with Dorm Room Fund. What have you learned in the venture space so far? Let's jam on this.
There's a cool balance of learning what you don't know, which are things that I'm focusing on now. So how to do DCF modeling, how to use Excel, how to, analyze rate of return, are some of the more basic terms that other folks who have a more studious business knowledge would have. And then I recognize at the same time, I've generated deal flow for myself and I've executed. I'm self-repped. So yeah. Anytime I do a brand deal with a brand, they're giving me a production budget basically and saying, we trust your creative instincts, create something that's going to generate a return on investment for us. Very much the same way an LP or a GP gives to a VC and expects them to use their expertise to generate a rate of return for them. And taking a practice that is less traditional and taking it to the VC space, which is full of success by disruption, I think gives me an edge. I think I'm at a cool nexus between athletics, technology. I produce music, so music. I produce TV, so entertainment. And taking all that together, also being Gen Z, it's really a hot spot for a lot of the targets for VC firms.
100%. Wait, before I forget, can you send me some beats or some music you make so I can use it for my intro and outro?
I got you.
You got me? Okay.
Yes,
Yeah, because
actually, yes.
okay, cool. Because I use like music for the intro and outro, and I need some that Metro Boomin Chase Griffin.
Okay.
But back on the subject, the startups or the companies that you see or interact with, whether you have skin in the game and engage, or whether you're just vetting, like, okay, what's interesting for me? What is the group you're interacting with the most in terms of the entrepreneur side?
There's a lot of cool companies that are in their early series that want to break into the NIL space.
Okay.
And especially early on, marketing is so important, and influencer marketing has really become the focus of the space. And then on top of that, NIL has become a very niche part of influencer marketing. And so when I look at my NIL deal breakdown now, of course, I have the large brands like JP Morgan Chase. I'm about to film a deal with Urban Outfitters. So those types of companies that are more.
I need some merch. Sign me some. Are you a XL?
No, I'm a medium. Yeah, I got a little torso, long arms, long legs.
How tall are you?
I'm only 5'10", 5'11".
Okay, that Kyler Murray. I got you. Got you.
Exactly. But I'll look at larger brands and do the more traditional, content for cash type deals with brands I really believe in. I want to continue building those partnerships and offer my production expertise as well. With smaller brands, a lot of these are startups that maybe they're past seed, but they're Series B, Series C, looking to really blow up. I'm starting to do consultation and ambassadorship for equity, where in the NIL network space, from the athlete perspective, there's few others who have the network that I have in working relationship history with so many brands. And just players in the space in general. So taking that network, that expertise, and the ability to create content and star in content is valuable to young brands and startups who are trying to build utilizing the NIL space. And so doing that for NIL has been something I've been focusing on.
That's what's up. So I couldn't wrap my head around like what area you would really be providing value to. So this makes perfect sense. Okay. The pre-seed seed stage and maybe some Series A companies, they don't do too much paid marketing yet. But to your point, the post B, C, and beyond companies that can do a little paid advertising with like influencers, athletes that could resonate with the community they're trying to build. That is such a great space for you to play in, to hop in there round, whether it's for equity or secondary. Like,
yeah, and it's exciting just because it's another way for me to practice reps in the VC space and creating value for others.
100%. So we got the VC area is fascinating. There's tons of outlets that talk about wealth management and being smart with your money. Obviously, you got your sweet tooth, you got things that you got to save on things like blah, blah, blah. As a quarterback with the NIL deals that are coming in, do you find yourself often giving game to your teammates about, if when they receive deals, how they should allocate this new cash flow?
Definitely. We have a teammate at UCLA who's a JUCO transfer. He plays cornerback. And we actually talked this morning. I was just giving him the marketplaces that really helped me, especially early on, because they provide a good, stable way to source deals, and then helping him plan out some content. I think as athletes especially, we're in practice every day, we're doing school every day, we're constantly busy, that we forget we're doing the coolest job on earth.
Right.
And just showing people a little glimpse into our life can build a following and create really good engagement that brands are attracted to when they're looking for ambassadors. And so keeping a grateful mind really unlocks a lot of doors in this space. I think any space, because you get to see every opportunity for what it is. And sometimes if we bury our head in the sand and we just feel like we're grinding, we forget the value that we can really add.
I'm starting to see something that I almost put in the bucket of a unwritten rule. Man, I think athletes are trending to everyone's got their little content guy on the side. Everyone's about to have their own content editing guy who's making little content for their personal brand. Are you seeing this on your side of the coin?
Definitely. And so I'm at Range Media, so I'm seeing so many talented creative directors who are great storytellers who are beginning to attach to pros, beginning to attach to even marquee college athletes. And you're seeing how a deal that might go for 100,000 for you one year, if you double your following, goes for 500,000 the following year. And so they're really smart investments.
No, 100%, 100%. Looking to the future, are we entering an era where it's no longer like NFL, NBA, MLB or bust? Because I think a lot of guys are starting to realize they can have this multi-hyphenated identity, whether it's being a speaker, VC, whatever. Have your goals or vision changed since all this has happened? And where do you want to be in 5 years?
I think my goals have just been added to. It's still my dream, and it's the reason why I'm still here at UCLA. I have 2 more years. I want to win a Rose Bowl and a national championship here, and then I want to win a Super Bowl. And until the dream is completely dead, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that's still a possibility. I think at the same time, athletes are in general recognizing things that some athletes recognized 30 and 40 years ago. When you look at the landscape of people running things in business in general, a lot of these folks in the C-suite were athletes. We were talking about our good friend Ryan Neese.
Shout out Ryan.
He's a UCLA Bruin. And athletes have discipline, have an ability to overcome physical but also emotional and mental distress and keep a clear mind and execute the job at hand. And I think the athletes who are recognizing this and practicing it in the business space are creating an acumen that's more immediately translatable post-playing career.
For sure. How about this? I know Chip Kelly said you could run for president one day. Obviously, the coaches see the type of value that these athletes bring outside of just hoops or football or baseball, etc. Do you feel like sometimes players, especially if they're not a rotational guy, do you think they have to go harder to prove to the coaches that they're not distracted by the money opportunity? Is that like a dynamic that you're starting to see in college sports, or is that a reach?
I think coaches who are creating a dichotomy of sorts where they think the amount of effort that goes into NIL pulls away from efforts placed into performance is just false. Just because when you look at the people who are performing the most as far as dollar amount in NIL, is literally all the best players. So yeah, that whole scale where it's like the better you do in NIL means you're not focusing enough in playing, I don't agree with. And I think especially at the professional level, we've seen that some of the stars who are the best brand builders is because they try to be the best in literally everything that they do. You see LeBron James, he's a master marketer because he's just a master at whatever venture he goes into. It could be shooting hoop, it could be business, it could be venture capital. He's going to be a monster in it. And I think that's the mindset that successful people in general have. And when you look at simplifying your life, it just becomes doing all things one way. You don't have to do just one thing. And athletes and talent in general, you even look at the entertainment world. You have folks like Reese Witherspoon, where probably 30 years ago, actresses were boxed into being an actress. Now she's a content creator and a director, just sold her entire catalog for hundreds of millions of dollars. And I think that's the same talent model that folks in sports are using as well.
I think Coach Prime said this, and forgive me for bringing Colorado speech into a UCLA directed conversation here, but
no worries. We look forward to playing them. I got nothing but respect for them.
You play good, they pay good.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I totally get that. Well, Chase, man, thank you so much for joining me. You're a trailblazer in this space, and I think we're going to look back in 20 years and be like, man, this is one of the guys that really pushed the mold forward, and I got the utmost respect for, what you're doing out here, because you're really changing not only college athletics, but the way athletes see themselves at an early age when they can still be influenced and molded. So salute to you, brother.
I appreciate it, Noah. Thank you for having me on the podcast.
And we out.